Hi there, and welcome to another incredibly provocative version of the Lucky Rock Wine Lounge.
What's up?
I am Jesse. I was recently in the vineyard. That's why I'm wearing my vineyard shoes and my Desert Stork camos to protect me from deer attack.
And I'm Aaron Candyman Inman. Today we're going to talk about spooky wine packaging. All right, so some of you might remember during the height of the Rona, when we started the Lucky Rock Wine Lounge under a different name, Cellar Rats into Cellar Rats, we did an episode before we had these lovely mustard-colored couches here called Wine Labels, Judging a Package by Its Cover. It was very popular. 42 people liked and subscribed.
Thank you, Mom.
We really appreciate that. And we talked a little bit about wine packaging, and Jesse's going to actually go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, basically it's, do the carpets match the drapes?
Whoa.
That's not quite right. That's, does the packaging match the wine? Is quality meet quality? Just because it looks good doesn't mean it was worth buying.
All right, so this is that time where we ask you to like and subscribe, or don't. We don't care.
Yes, we do.
We do. So we're kind of doing wine packaging 2.0 today, except we're doing it with a Halloween spooky theme. Because what we did is we picked a couple wines that we were drawn to the packaging based off of them actually liking them, and then we picked some that we were drawn to them because we actually hated them or strongly disliked. I tell my children not to say the word hate.
That's right.
So we're not going to use it here.
So let's dive in. Let's just make sure the pool is not 3 feet deep. All right, so Aaron picked a couple wines. I picked a couple wines. One we loved, one we didn't love so much. And then I think I picked another one just in case Aaron didn't love anything.
So this wine is called Petra. I had to look that up because it's spelled a little interestingly. P-A-E-T-R-A, Petra. I have had this wine one other time. It's a Riesling from Willamette Valley. I picked it up last time because I really thought the label was kind of striking, and I just like the high contrast of the black spider with kind of the opaque.
It's pretty spooky.
White. And then it made a lot of sense for this episode because it was fairly spooky.
Yeah.
It is a Black Widow, I believe. So you're not going to get a lot of information from the label. It's really just, it has what I like to call it pickup ability. And then there's some information on the back. You know, it's a 2019 Riesling from Willamette Valley. This costs about $20, so it's right in the wheelhouse for a well-made wine from the States.
Yeah.
And I did like that it's also a screw cap. Anyways, let's give it a little tasty taste.
Gary V there.
I don't know who that is.
Me either. I just picked a name out of the hat.
You know, the story on this wine is kind of, it's a younger guy. I say younger, he's probably our age, so I think that's younger.
He used to be young.
You know, you never know these days. And he studied in Germany. So he actually was in wine sales.
I love France.
Was that the country of Asia?
No, that's a continent, and
Oh,
that's
oops.
Russia.
Yeah, South Africa, beautiful. And he went to Germany, trained, came back, was looking in the US for places to do some Riesling, dry style, so no sugar, and settled on Willamette Valley.
Yeah, man, it's dry.
And it's a bone dryer.
It's got a little bit of effervescence, minerality. It's clean. I don't, they're hit or miss in America, the Rieslings, and I think this is a decent representation.
Yeah, I think it's pretty tasty. And when I drink Rieslings, I tend to like them drier or dry, bone dry, and this one kind of hits on all those cylinders for me. So
yeah, this will definitely attract you if you're looking for a label at the spot. You know, I call it the white label of death. If everything looks the same, it's got a white label. It's like this has got a big spider on it.
So yeah, in this instance, does the packaging, does the drapes match the curtains? Or...
I don't know. I think you only get to say that once an episode.
But no, on this one, I think the packaging matches the wine quality. It's got pickup ability, and I think it's a solid, well-made Riesling if you like a dry style.
Yep, agreed. Okay, let's see what's next.
So now we're on to wine 2 already. I know, this is going so
Two?
fast. Wine 2. And this is Jesse's pick, so I'm going to let him jibber jabber about it.
Yeah, which I will. This is Makwani Mannequin by Orin Swift. And it's funny because I ran into Aaron in the wine shop and I was like, hey, Aaron, if you can't find one, what do you think about this one? And all three of the wines I pointed out to him were all Orin Swift wines, which this is, because they have very distinct labels. I think mannequins typically are creepy, especially when they have lipstick on them.
Yeah, those ones are a little beat up. They're a little bit like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. So it's a blend of, I think, 3-ish regions. It's Napa, Sonoma, and I think it said San Lucia Highlands.
So that's 8.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
I think their website said $35. We picked it up for about $30. So anyway, we'll see how she goes here. This has, all of his wines are very pickup ability because they're all very striking labels. He kind of reinvented the way Americans saw wine labels because he was doing stuff that people normally would never put on a wine label.
Yeah,
and so, and a lot of people mimicked him there on out.
Yeah, I think Jesse and I tend to skew like a little bit spooky wine label anyway. If you put a cool skull, we'll see a not cool skull later, or like a cool spider or other stuff, we're gonna pick it up. That's just kind of our genre. And so Orin Swift wines have always had massive pickup ability for me. The wine's good, it's very creamy, it's very buttery.
Oaky buttery.
Oaky buttery, kind of like what you would think from, like I think what a lot of people maybe cliche-ly think of California Chardonnay.
Yep.
So maybe it's a little overdone for me,
Yeah.
but so is the label.
Yeah, and it's like, if you're gonna pay $35 for a bottle of wine, you want it to be, substantial. And so a lot of people are like, they make their wines a little extra heavy. It's not an accident in America. It's kind of like that Cadillac with the bull horns in the front. You get a 30 ounce steak.
Oh yeah, I pulled one up in the driveway.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's there's a lot of match there. Message match.
But it made me pick it up. Good job, Orin Swift, once again.
So Jesse's the middle child, so we're gonna let him do 2 in a row, as you do.
Yeah. This one's Vampire. A vampire in Spanish, I think. I don't know if that's true. It's California Merlot. I think this was $20-ish. They are really drinking that proverbial Kool-Aid when it comes to the vampire thing because they have like one called Dracula. They have Dracula chocolate. They have a couple other things.
They sell this at Spirit Halloween store. Get it while it's open. It closes on November 1st.
Yeah, and they did their website was a little bit rough around the edges, and that's being nice.
The packaging's fairly dumb.
And that's what made me pick it up. I was like, wow, if I'm going for spooky, that is dumb.
Spooky in name.
I mean, there's a certain, I think when we did the judge a book by its cover, the one I hated the most, Grandma was like, I like it.
Yeah,
So-
we weren't the target market.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. Vampire.
Vampire.
I mean, it smells like Merlot.
Yeah.
Like kind of chippy, wood chippy, cheaper Merlot.
Yeah. And it said something about Napa on there, but this says California, so I don't know if they've changed vineyards or if it's a different vintage or whatever, but
The lackluster packaging kind of matches the wine.
yeah, it's okay.
It finishes a little bit like a cedar wood deck, like that kind of like just very cedary.
Cedar d.
No, I haven't had one of those in weeks.
I mean, I wouldn't say it knocks it out of the park, but if the package got you and you love Merlot and you feel like spending $20,
You happen to be a vampire,
you happen to be a vampire
drinking this at night, obviously.
in front of a mirror, like, oh, look, floating glass.
Spooky!
Yeah. Someone has to invite you in order to have a glass. Anyway,
All
so
right,
that's
moving.
that. So Aaron picked this one, and I love it from the get-go.
I picked this one because I kind of hated it. I mean, disliked it, strongly disliked
I don't know, I love like 1994 clip art.
it. Yeah, it looked like, I don't know. It's just so, I think earlier I said we love like spooky labels in general. You can get us with a skull and a spider and stuff, but this just, I don't know. To me, it's
Not trying hard enough. I
not
think.
trying hard enough, and I'm a big fan of like kind of vertical labels in a lot of ways, and this one's like, there's a lot going on. It's like, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this, and this wine's really interesting. We didn't talk about scores or anything with the other ones, but I think it's notable on this one that this wine has gotten as low as 81 and as high as 95, depending on who's rating it, which is really polarizing.
Quite the span, yeah.
And they put a nice, cheesy looking gold decanter logo right here. So I got the impression looking this up that it's a pretty large winery in Spain. This wine is from Spain.
And it looks like Humilla.
Jamia. And
That's the region.
the region, Monstral, once again, which is Mourvedre. Polarizing scores. Didn't love the label. Called Time Waits for No One. We're gonna give it a shot.
It's interesting.
It's definitely not bad.
I don't know why the polarization was there between the 95 and the 81, you know?
Sure. The nose is kind of moot, but it's spicy. You better like a little spice.
Yeah, and that's typical of Mourvedre. It's got some spicy notes.
cluster or two.
And Mourvedre can be a very hard grape to produce.
So yeah, to me, this wine is tasty. Especially, honestly, this was only $12.
Would you say the wine is better than the label?
Certainly. This is an instance where the wine is better than the label. For me.
Interessante.
For a guy that did not like the label. All right, so now we're coming up on wine 5 already. It's gone fast. It's been like a speeding train through label land.
I've had a hoot myself.
Yeah, it's been a good time. So we're gonna finish off with Jesse's Pickup Ability wine.
Yeah, so this one, I think, is the spookiest of them all.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, this one's called Palermo. That's a place in Sicily. Yeah. So this is Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa, and they say it's like a classic cab. I'll be the judge of that.
And a classic cab from Napa for $45-50. That's
Yeah, we
pretty
got
good
it.
these days.
We got it for obviously right here, $45.99. But they sell it on their website for around $55. But a lot of their wines are hard to get, so
It's that Pickup Ability.
it is. These, I mean, they're printing cash with wine. And Orin Swift again typically does not hold back when it comes to bigness of wines.
It's tasty. Yeah, that when he says that, they tend to be highly extracted, high alcohol, mouthfuls.
Yeah, and the bigger the tannin, because tannins start to bind together over time, the bigger the tannin, the molecule, the softer it feels in your mouth because it sits in the receptor in your mouth and it kind of takes up more real estate, and the more real estate it takes up, the softer it feels.
You can check out our chilling red wine episode for a little cruise through how tannins change with temperature.
That's right.
Yeah. So I would say on this one, the quality of the label, which I think I like the label a lot, matches the quality of the wine.
I
would say
agree.
On this one.
Yep, and it's intriguing. I mean, it's a classic Napa cab in like build, but the label is not what I would say is most traditional.
And speaking of packaging, it's important to us at Lucky Rock because we've always been a big fan of our own package. And it recently got our canned wine won international. I believe that is the whole
Entire world.
I believe that's the whole country at least.
Yeah.
It won the international canned wine competition, canned packaging.
I
award.
think it's the entire universe.
Yeah. So we learned a lot today. Who knew that such a corny topic, spooky wine, would lead into such a prospecting of marketing?
That's right.
But that's what we do here. Just peel back the onion layers.
That's right. We're innovating while de-innovating.
Technically not a word. All right, so let's do a little recap. What we thought of these. So Pietro. I thought it matched, the quality of the wine matched the price and the packaging very well.
Yeah.
All right, and this one? What do you
I'd
think?
say carpets match the drapes. I mean, outside of the label, which is also literally very big, the bottle's heavy, the wine's heavy. Actually, whether it was intentional or not, I think, matches.
Yeah, for sure. All right, wine 3, Vampire.
I would say par for the course. You know, so-so on the label, so-so on the wine. You got what you paid for.
Yeah, matchy. All right, wine number 4, and then we get to our first, what would you call this?
Contrarian wine?
Contrarian wine? Sure, we'll go with that.
Anomaly?
I'll look up contrarian after this. Wine I liked, label I don't like.
Yeah, I think the label is, but then again, I have a propensity towards 1994 Clipper. Yeah, I don't hate the label, but it's no es mi favorito.
Nice. Russian.
I don't know if you know this, but I don't speak Russian!
All right, and the 5th and final. What do we think of this one?
The old Palermo, they used to call me that in prison. It's not true.
Matchy match again?
Yeah, I'd say match. Again, Orin Swift kind of knocks it out of the park when it comes to packaging. Heavy package, heavy wine, pickup ability, spooky AF.
It was a tasty wine, and I also think for the price, Napa Valley Cab, $50.
It's what if you want a slutty cab from Napa, it's a pretty good price.
Totally. All right, so I think we learned a lot today about how the packaging can match the wine or not. We had some favorites, some least favorites. I decided to write out the conclusion of this episode with the Willamette Valley Riesling. Love the packaging, love the wine.
Yep, and I went with the Cabernet from Orin Swift, Napa Valley, because same, but different.
Same. Cheers.
Cheers.